This is BarCode, a cocktail-powered podcast that dives deep into the personalities, criminals, and heroes that have come to define security across the globe. Please join our host, Chris Glandon, for another wild foray into the incredible world of humans and how they intertwine with today's modern technology. We hope you enjoy today's episode.
Five, four, three, two, one.
Activate.
Welcome to BarCode. I'm your host, Chris Glandon, and today's guest grew up in Galveston, Texas, taught himself to hack on dial-up and Visual Basic, served in the Navy, and then became one of the most recognizable names in hacktivist history. His handle is W0rmer. His real name is Higinio Ochoa. In 2012, he was arrested by the FBI for a series of intrusions into law enforcement systems as part of Cabin Crew, an anonymous affiliate, and served 18 months of a 27-month sentence in federal prison. What followed was an internet ban, a complete rebuild, and an unexpected path forward. He's a consultant doing legally what he once did in the shadows. Higinio, thanks for stopping by BarCode, man. It's great to finally meet you.
Hey, Chris, thanks for having me on.
For sure, man. So before we get into anything, I would like for you to just, take me back to the beginning. I know that you got into this or into hacking at a young age, but can you talk a little bit about what that actually looked like and how did hacking enter your life?
So I took an interesting approach to it. So for me, hacking came kind of from the pirate side of things, really. I got in through telephony hacking, right? Freaking, growing up in what I would call the IRC hood, man. I mean, when we were growing up, if we needed internet, we were stealing it right off the cable. We were breaking into the boxes, hitting right up at the ring and tip,
Yeah.
Back in those days, it was just different. Jumping into garbage cans, trying to get the information that we had. The hacker mythos is real back then. What got me into hacking was if there was something I needed to know, how was I going to get it? Was I going to pirate that software? Was I going to write those keygens? Was I going to crack that stuff myself? Was I going to break into that computer system? And that's what motivated me.
Yeah. So I guess how did you learn the technical skills to be able to do that? Did you have people that ran in your crew that did that, or was this something that you sort of just saw and caught on and it took you by interest?
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen?
Well, with most things tech, I strongly feel that you gotta pulled into it, right? So back in those days, 90s, early 2000s, we're hanging out in IRC chat rooms. We didn't have any schools I could go to, no classes. There wasn't people teaching this stuff on YouTube, right? Because those things were still being created. The idea, even information security, the idea of having a company that deals with security, that just was not in the thing. So it was all self-taught. There was the closest, even going to college, the closest we had for that was, information or computer science of some sort, very low level information security introductions there. So yeah, it was all self-taught, lots of hanging out in like AOL chat rooms and stuff, right? Learning in IRC rooms, just e-begging. Come on, man, give me a journal, or ICQ, right? Just give me a shell, give me something. Let me go play on it. Hacking libraries, a little bit of everything, really. Like if there was even kind of a space on your crew for, hey man, let me make the logos when you guys hacked, right? Let me get on your team, anything to get that information. Because back in those days, it was free to share. You sharing information, learning hacking and stuff. The real reason you went to DEF CON and stuff wasn't to watch a talk. It was to talk with the people and learn.
Yeah.
But you had to have it. If you weren't trying to learn and you were just trying to get off on the name or whatever, people would be like, man, get out of here. I don't got time for that. They wanted to see you doing the work. If they saw you in my case, installing FreeBSD and stuff, you know. Can you imagine 11 years old trying to understand what the wheel group is and BSD off of 30 something floppy disks? You know, it was just a different time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the core of it. A lot of it's self-taught, and yeah, you go out there and you make the friends and you make the people in the industry and like, hey man, I need to learn this, I need to do this, and they'll teach you if you have that drive.
Did you ever get involved with any organizations as you became more interested in this? Like you mentioned DEF CON. Did you ever go to DEF CON at that point in time, or were you involved in the community?
I mean, I was hanging out. I was hanging out in the 2600 rooms right on IRC. I was doing group work for like EHAP, Enemy 403. A lot of old groups. Yeah, this stuff doesn't exist anymore because in the 90s, 2000s, those, you know, the laws were different. We didn't even have basic computer security laws, man. You broke into a computer, you were either talking to the government or that company was coming to bang on your door, right?
And
You weren't just, yeah, you weren't just researching security. It didn't happen like that. So,
yeah. Yeah. And you probably didn't know what the repercussions were either, right? I mean,
well, because there was none. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, when I started getting into big hacking, into the anonymous, into the activist thing, yeah. Back then
you
you
were
had
more aware of
laws
it.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Growing up, learning to hack, pirate and stuff, pirating, just doing any kind of thing illegal back then, just like not having the internet. And then one day you wake up, you have the internet. Well, one day we had DCSS. One day we woke up and we can just decrypt DVDs. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Right. And then next thing you know, it was Telnet was cool and all that. You can connect to one or two computers. White Sands missile range started meaning something.
Yeah.
And just as it evolved, you just found yourself a lot of times like, what you mean? That's now illegal. That's how we did things, you know? So that's definitely been interesting.
Yeah. That's definitely a shift that you had to deal with. But talk to me a little bit about the point that hit you where it stopped becoming purely technical and started becoming more of something with purpose behind it. Like, what was the switch that went off where you said to yourself, you know, there's more to this than just ones and zeros?
I had gone to my hometown for a little meetup with some friends. It's been a while, so I'm hanging out with my friends. And a buddy of mine goes, hey, there's this Occupy anonymous thing going on. They're having a meeting. Would you be interested? Now, I've messed with Anonymous at that time a little bit. I've been doing a lot of programming and just kind of helping their activist cause. My work with EHAP, Ethical Hackers Against Pedophilia, back in the day, got my mind kind of like, oh, I got the tech experience. Let me help an organization. I started helping out with Occupy Wall Street stuff. So I go to this meeting and I'm starting to realize that it's one of those situations where I might be the dude.
Mm.
You know, the weapon that these guys are looking for. We need somebody who can run all our tech. We need somebody who can do this, who can do that. Once I got involved, it was done. I mean, once you're running camps, you're dealing with people, you know, who wake up every day and they go to these big protests and stuff, and you're running their cameras, you're running the backbone of the internet and stuff. So you're watching these people. You have a core relationship with these people, and then you start seeing them being attacked, and it feels. It's one thing when you're seeing him being attacked by like another random person, right? Like if I know you, I'm watching you, and then I see Chris walking down the street and he gets punched by just some random dude. I'm like, oh, I better get a hold of the police. I better get a hold of somebody. It has an escalation path. When I saw them being abused by the people that I would call for help, when I saw the system that I was told that I had to, you know, be controlled by, I had to listen to, when I saw them overstep the authority that I felt that we gave them as American citizens, it snapped in my head. Like I was like, no, I can't. I can no longer stand idly by. Like there is a fundamental here that's wrong, and I need to make sure that I can fix that. And I feel that for the longest time we did. For the longest time we had little accountability there.
And that was with cabin crew?
Well, cabin crew is what I like to say was my my temper tantrum.
Okay.
I was watching an Occupy camp. We had about, I want to say it was going on about the third time group of cops had came and raided. Little known fact is I had for the longest time epilepsy, GEFS plus. and I'm watching this raid go on, and all of a sudden this lady starts having a seizure. I'm like, oh man, that sucks. I would hate to be in that situation. I'm performing Overwatch, so I'm watching the woman on a live stream have a seizure. I see officers coming up. The first thing I'm thinking is, hell yeah, right? We got the fucking first responders coming to take care. And he starts beating her and starts trying to arrest her.
Damn.
And for me, it broke it. For me, I said, nope, that's it.
Yeah.
I want that man's badge number. I want his name. I want to know what was going through his head. And a guy got a hold of me and was like, we can't get his badge number. He's got it hidden.
Well, yeah, because they had the tape over it.
And I said, that's not how we're going to do this. Like, if you're going to be beating us and if that's your SOP, then so be it. I can't let it continue with doing so completely anonymously. So I went looking for a group. Cabin crew started saying, hey, we need some hackers. We got op pig roast, we're looking to get some cops. And I said, hello, that'd be.
So just knowing pig roast, right? What was the objective there? I have an idea, but tell me what the objective there was on
if you've ever seen the movie Hackers, and you see that poor agent, he's just having the time of his life, right? His life been disappeared. He's getting calls that he's dead. That was it. It was the idea was, if you're gonna go out there and you are going to switch badges, we had people switching districts just to do these missions, right? And that's fine if that's what you're gonna do. We're gonna make it really, really dangerous or scary. Not dangerous. We're gonna make it scary for you to make these type of calls. If you're gonna go and do a 3 o'clock raid, you're going to do so with the respect of a 3 o'clock raid. You're not going to be kicking people, pushing, because if you are, you're going to be held accountable. And there was a time when literally police officers just simply would not be seen on camera. They didn't want to do any more talking up. They didn't want to, live streamers were getting arrested because if a cop's badge was seen covered up, we'd find them. So.
What did that feel like to you? Talk to me a little bit about that, because again, you it's instilling fear in others, but was there any fear running through your veins as you're doing this? Or was this more vindication for you?
Yeah, I think there was a time for about like my first hack, my first police station, I'm putting it up. I got music going, crazy stuff's on the screen. I'm seeing everybody freaking out. And I was like, man, any minute, these feds can just bust in. But again, once you make that jump, the way my brain works, once you make that jump, you're all in. There's no, I mean, I tell you what, right? I was a cocky dude, man. I mean, I still am a cocky dude, but I mean, I was telling the FBI, come at me. I was telling.
Yeah. I want to get into that too.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I was calling out some of the best in this country.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, the best in this country weren't bringing it. You can see that through my whole case. They were like, damn. I mean, I don't want to pat my own back, but I don't believe that if I had messed up, if I hadn't dropped that picture, if I hadn't left those GPS cords in, they used to say you'd have even see my face. And that's the big thing was, at that time, I felt untouchable because I uniquely believed that I was untouchable. I figured if they came in, if they walked in through that door, busted my door down, whatever, they were going to need to prove as much as they could on what they found, because I know I wasn't leaving anything behind. And the stuff that I did leave behind was almost purposely. So,
which probably fueled you more, right? I mean, that probably gives you more, you think you're untouchable. That's just naturally, going to fuel you even more to push those limits.
And you start getting 2 or 3 wins under your belt, right? The first one, okay. Second one, okay. Third one, okay. Full on. I mean, we were making news. We were making, like I said, we were getting put out in FBI reports, watch out, dude. These don't go on TV and don't show your badge, because there's a group of people out there who will find you. And so, yeah, there was a lot of that. but it comes with it.
Mhm.
I think if you don't take it as a humble, you end up in a lot of the situations that a lot of the people, around me got into. I'm
Mhm.
one of the few that made it out.
So I think I do want people to sort of understand what this actually looks like and is in practice, right? Because I think we often hear in our industry what the theory is and sort of that outsider perspective, but you lived it. So I would love for you to, if you don't mind, walk me through an operation, like from the moment that you identify a target to the moment that you're out. Is it close in proximity to how we're portraying it from within inside our industry?
Well, yes and no. If you've hacked a web app, you've hacked a web app. I mean,
Mhm.
we ran specialized tooling, so we set our own scope. All right. If we're saying we're going to hack the police station, well, it's got to be a police station or police affiliate. Uh, at that point, I had it workflowed really nice. And so that was one of the issues that they were having was as soon as they said, okay, this one definitely got hacked by Wormer, there was a whole nother one popping up. Oh, fuck. Did he hack this one too? And what that came down to was that scaling up, right? We were looking for, first of all, was it a police station? Boom, there's a list of host names and URLs and IP addresses, right? Okay. Do any of those have secret admin pages? You would be surprised. I mean, come on, dude. Someone gets a basic website going. They're an paid police guy who's also got the tag of being the local web guy. He's got basic Java skills and a state budget programmer doing his job. Well, look at that. There's an admin page. 9 times out of 10, does it have SQL injection? Of course. Right. So you're mass collecting sites, I mean, there was times it got to the point to where we didn't know what we were hacking until we were setting up the press release for it.
Jeez.
Like we would have creds for them. We would have full access to their systems and be like, okay, who is this again? What are we doing? And it's like, okay, it's a police station, but that's why you'll notice on my case, it goes police station. Then there's like city of Alabama,
Mhm.
random chief of association, because that's what would happen. We would have police station, police station, police station be dumping their data. Okay, we've got this other third party hack. Where do we put it? Who do we release it under? Optics is big. A lot of people don't, we have the ghost hacker ethos in our, ghost on the wire. So, but if you look, no, I'm very loud, right? Most shiny hunter, most of APTs, we don't, what's the point of being badass if we're, not being notified, if we're not getting that attention, if you are not actively coming for us, what differentiates us from anybody else?
Yeah, I never thought of it
So
like
that's
that. I
the,
mean, it's like
yeah.
you have your own brand, right? Because your end game is that you want to be known for a certain reason, right?
And that's where it goes from Lapsus or, like I said, shiny hunters. These guys they're making these great big brand names, and it doesn't do them any good to be identified as Bravo Shokovitz, right, in 2 weeks by being seen at a soccer game. That doesn't do you any good, bro.
Yeah.
The reality is, when I got out of prison, they weren't asking who I was. They knew who I was. I'd
Mhm.
made W0rmer a brand and made that into a part of who I was.
Your
And that
identity.
is, yeah, and that's the main difference between, I think, what we're taught and how we perceive this APT. Because let's be honest, like that's the worst part is not getting your stuff rocked. Because as an IT guy, information security, we can do DFIR, we can do disaster recovery, we can, insurances. The real part where it hurts the company is that these guys are going to go out and they're going to plaster your company's name next to theirs,
Mhm.
right? And that's where that comes. So I think brand management is something that you know, and when you start seeing that, when you start seeing Netflix Red Team, and Trust Wave doing full on or Blue Level, whatever they're called now, doing full on page, hacks and stuff, then yeah, when the consultants have to be APTs. It's a whole other level.
You spoke to this briefly, but as you're hitting these systems and you're defacing sites, you're also live tweeting in real time. So you're taunting them, you're posting, you're tagging yourself. Like, what was the psychology behind that? Was that more purpose driven, or were you just more just fucking with them because you felt like you could?
Well, you had to keep it alive. You
Okay.
had to keep. So one of the things that you'll hear me say often is, people, because all the time, dude, how good of a hacker can you be, bro? You got freaking caught. I've been hacking for 30, 40 years and I ain't never been caught. Well, my response to this day has always been, you ain't been loud enough and in their face. See, I was posting the pictures of them, the houses. I was posting pictures. You know what I mean? I was saying, come at me, bro, not to one little police station or to a Microsoft. I was saying it to the United States government. And when you look back on it, even the catching me, it wasn't like I said that and they pulled up and got me. It was very much like, oh shit, it was a celebratory thing.
Yeah.
Man, we got him. We got him, So
Yeah, I have one tweet that you made. In case your intel guys are staying up too late, let me save you time. Come at me, bro. Legend.
Just ridiculous.
And that was 3 weeks before they knocked on your door.
Because by that time it was inevitable.
Okay.
By that time, I had people in my DMs hit me up like, hey, that last picture has some GPS in it, bro.
Yeah. So here's part of your story that really makes the hair on my fucking arm stand up straight, is that you're inside, I believe it was the Alabama Department of Public Safety system, and you realize what you're looking at, right? Tell me what happened there and what you decided to do next.
Well,
this is more about the photo. Like, this is when I read this part, like, I would love for you to just walk me through that, because that was like,
yeah. So at the time I'd been running something called Cabin Crew USO, and like the degenerate dudes that we were in our basements, right? We were out there asking ladies send us topless covers of just Higinio or W0rmer hacked you, W0rmer pwned me, all this just ridiculous stuff. I was dating this blonde who wanted some help. She later became my wife, but she was like, hey, I want some help doing this. And I was like, did my famous line, tits or get the fuck out, right? Again, degenerate. So I apologize. Do not cancel me. But that's just how it was. It was that fast. But once we got involved, I was like, I need something new. And again, that was the W0rmer's brand. My brand was really, I'm in your face. I'll hack your stuff, and everything I do is signed. Everything, you see, I got W0rmer on the bottom here. If I'm representing, if I'm hacking, you're going to see my face, my name, my tag, whether there'll be a music video. There's signs that I am the one that hacked it. I leave it in the code just so I can always go back and say, that was me. Now, when I had first met this girl, she had sent me photos, and I'd made fun of her. This is really the ironic part about it. I had made fun of her, being like, man, you got to turn this off. Your GPS is everywhere. I showed her a picture of her house. This you? Oh no, right? I had her passwords because she just would randomly put them into IRC. Like, when it comes to security, hygiene, she was bad. Which, that's what you expect from the usual, street. She came out. She was like, what do you want me to do again? I said, look, I need you to go out. I mean, we need to go out. I went bikini, get all sexy, rake some signs, put W0rmer pwned me. Let's go. And usually I would expect some kind of kickback, but she was ride or die. And so she was like, nah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that for you. It's just a little hack. What was it? No one was going to know. And that broke it open. So not only was that one of my biggest hacks because of how the databases were actually connected on the back end, but it was one of my most famous hacks because it ends up with her, completely from the in that famous bikini picture, taunting the police, right? Just straight up, just going, if you ain't this, don't even.
Yeah, it said love you bitches or something like that.
Yeah. And that's that's what it was about. And that's,
Yeah.
for me, hacking was and isn't hard.
Yeah.
It's either doable or it's not. Either the code is fucked up and you can run it back, or it's not. It takes a skill. It's something that dedication, time. But I think once you get to the actual exploitation, it is not that hard to put fingers to a keyboard and get it doing. If you're gonna do this game, and it was important in the 90s, man, you didn't just hack. You had your name, you had a logo, you had a whole mythos about you, oh man, that's that dude, ASCII text and stuff about your group and stuff. It was all out. And there needs to be more of it, and we're seeing that in the war of nowadays. We're seeing a lot more of that stuff come back. But for a minute there, it was kind of wild.
Yeah. So essentially the FBI didn't need any sort of like elite cyber forensics to find you. So talk to me, or I guess explain to me the best that you can, or to your knowledge, like beyond that, how did they build their case and find you?
I mean, realistically, they didn't need to build no case. That's the facts. So they came at me once they realized, look, this computer nerd is dating the e-thought, right? Like that's just what's happening. It's obvious. They got the GPS. At that point, it was, what can we get them with? What can we not? Well, on Twitter, I signed everything. This is me. This is me. This is me. This is me. And so I always assumed that is what it came out to. They sat down and said, we can forensically try to prove this was you, or we printed up. And I mean, it was a stack of every tweet that summer I had done. And they're like, or we can go through this and you can tell us which is you. And I was like, this is going to be easy, bro. You see where it says a non-wormer? Anytime I did an ad like that, I was telling you, that was me. Buy a non-wormer. That's me. Signatures on it, dude. Oh, well, how do we know that you actually pushed the code? Okay. In the code, there's going to be on the very bottom, you're going to see a little signature in the source code. If you see that, is me. If you don't, it's not. There you go. And really, that's all it was. There was no, I mean, and I said, did they try and make me snitch or anything? I mean, of course, I put that in my writing. Of course, bro, they had invested so much time to catch me. Why not? But the fact of the matter is, and this is the real thing that what people don't understand, really seem to, if you look back in that time frame about all the hackers of Anonymous, the ones of us that got caught were really the only ones they had. You see, and that's the reality of it, is there's not a lot of us. There was not freaking chat rooms filled with hackers. It was chat rooms with a couple hackers. But that all got, that got played out in the field. Once you were out there and you were doing your missions and your ops, and then, like I said, the few that were like, oh, it was just, you got caught because you got caught, dude. You're just not that good. If you've never ran a full operation, right? Like if you've never ran from the police, kept your machine up to date, and hacked, done your full recon workflow while the cops are looking for you, you can't really talk about on
You
it.
ain't shit.
Yeah, you can say, oh, well, of course I did all this, so they must be after you. Yeah, but I knew they were after me. Show up on their radar and evade them. And then we can talk.
Damn. So this was, okay. So this was March 2012, I believe. You were 30 years old at the time. The FBI shows up at your apartment. You're in Galveston still, right? You expected it, but you didn't expect it. Walk me through that day when they knock on your door.
Yeah, that was actually a funny day. So I had gone to bed, dumping a website. We got 2,500 rows that we have to dump out of this web server that I had hacked. I turn my tool on and start downloading the data, and I go to bed. I wake up. I don't know if you've been to Texas, so we get hurricanes and stuff down there. Well, the apartments I was in had big old hurricane doors, dude. Steel side, steel door, steel frame. Thing was locked up, and it had a one-way bolt lock. So if I bolt locked it, you couldn't undo it from the outside. So 10 o'clock, I wake up. I'm in my boxers. I hear boom, 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 boom. Dude, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Ain't nobody care. I'm getting my coffee, dude. I look through. There's a poor maintenance man trying to put his keys in my door, right? And just MP5, 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 right? Just gun over these. I'm like, oh, shit.
Damn. You're
You
alone
get,
inside?
I'm alone inside. And I know that door's not going anywhere. And I know the windows are hurricane windows, bottom floor. Those ain't going nowhere. And the guy can't get in. So two things, I'm either going to stand here and be that guy. I'm going to fall on my sword and be like, no, fuck the police, and go all crazy and stuff. And these dudes were going to eventually, I don't know, probably surround the building, go crazy, right? Instead, I just pick up my coffee, right? I grow all of my passwords, everything that I've been operating on is on a one-time pad. I don't know any of my passwords. They're just one-time pad. So I go grab my coffee. I take my one time. I throw it in the toilet and flush it. Take a sip. Open the door. I'm like, "You guys here for me?" Boom. They rush me. I ain't even got pants on. I'm like, "Can I get some pants on?" They're high fiving and stuff, all excited. I again. So I had hacked into the FBI guy that they had sent to monitor me to make sure that I was at the spot, because they knew I was at one of these rooms. I just didn't know where. You just don't see a lot of netgear in the real world, right? You don't see it in a an apartment complex. You see some here, some there, but not the business class routers.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a time when the Pixie attacks for WPA2 was coming out, right? I mean, Wi-Fi was so insecure at that time. It was literally click a button, hit a button, walk away and come back, and now you were in that Wi-Fi. So I knew I was being monitored. I was ready. So psychologically, it wasn't like, I wasn't crying. I wasn't a mess. I told most people, like the night before, I was actually at my brother's house, and I was telling them like, "Hey man, tomorrow I'm probably going to go to jail." Right? Like I'm probably getting raided. And they were like, "Man, shut up, dude. You're so stupid." Like you
Mm-hmm.
you can't tell people this kind of stuff and them to fucking
To
understand.
understand.
Yeah, the normie. I was telling my parents, "Hey guys, don't use your credit cards tomorrow." And they would see it on the TV. MasterCard shut down. Visa shut down. And it didn't click on them. I remember one of the funniest comments, this agent came in and he was like, "I got your mom and dad in there." And I was like, "That ain't a threat, bro. Like they don't, they won't believe you." And he's like, "Oh, we'll get them to talk." Bro, they
Yeah.
don't know nothing. And seriously, they were like, "Do you know your son has a girlfriend who's coming in?" And they were like, "Dude, my son ain't got no girlfriend. What the fuck are you talking about?" He would have
Yeah.
told us,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're engaged. What? He's not engaged. I just separated that from my life. I was
Mm-hmm.
W0rmer for 8 hours a day, and I was Higinio Ochoa for eight
So they
hours a
had
day.
no idea.
No idea. And I mean the marshals, U.S. Marshals, real nice. I gotta say I was kind of worried that law enforcement, in the prison system would be awful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I got handshakes. I got thank yous from COs.
Hmm.
My prison sentence was definitely different than a lot of people's.
Have you been to prison before at that point in time? No.
No,
Okay.
this is my first. Yeah.
So you're basically inside this legal process now for months, right?
Mm.
And that span of time is something I think that rarely gets talked about. I think especially in our industry. So like as you're in the system, what is that actually doing to you
Oh, that's
mentally?
scary, man. It's
Yeah.
scary. It's some of the scariest. I mean, you're in a situation where, first of all, they were trying to hit me with everything. So if there was 100 or 200 pieces of code that they just couldn't fix and they hired some outside dude to fix, they were going to charge me for it.
Mm, damn.
Like
Yeah.
I found it. I found and exploited that vulnerability. They had to fix it. They're going to charge me for having to fix it. Lots of back and forth with that. At the time, the girlfriend wanted a kid before I went into prison, right? There's nothing scarier than going into prison knowing that there's a family that you got to support, and you got getting into prison. I wasn't going into a military camp. I wasn't going into, any kind of training program. I was going to prison. And so the whole time, that's all. And you'll see it through my paperwork. You'll see it through the only thing that I cared about was after prison. You caught me. I'm going to do my time. I'm not worried about how that's going to roll. When I get out, I have to be able to talk about it, right? A lot of people can't talk about their crime. There's rules and laws. That was the first thing I negotiated. I'm not going to go do 2 years and be the baddest motherfucker that done walk the planet. And you're going to tell me I can't talk about it because I hurt some feelings. It's not going to work. That's not going to work. So we can go to court, make a big court deal about it and hoo-ha, and you'll see my stuff on EFF, and I won't need to talk about it because it'll be talked about by everybody else, or you can leave it up to me. And ultimately the DA was like, nah, dude, we'll let you have it. So they let me talk about it, let me do all that. I was worried about, that there's not a feeling, I think, that adequately encompasses what it's like to leave somebody on the outside when you're the protector of that person. You feel me? When you're made out, you know what I mean? The target was on my back, but she was out front trying to catch him. So a lot of people ran games since and before. A lot of people had said some stuff back then. I mean, it was everything. People were saying, "Oh, he's a snitch. Oh, he got caught, so he's fake." All the stuff that comes with it, with the drama of just not getting the full. If I'd gotten 20 years dragged under and this big sad story, then maybe it would have been less on her. But at the time, just everyone blaming her, "Oh, you got him arrested," or blah, blah, blah. So much. And all I can do is sit there and go to jail. Right. Now,
Feel helpless.
Yeah. And pre-trial made it worse because you were building a life temporarily, because we had to have a place to live. We had to have a apartment buildings. We had to have a car, but we had to have them temporarily, right? Because at some point I wasn't going to be there to pay for the car. I wasn't going to be there to pay for the apartment. I wasn't going to be able to pay for food. And so all of that had to be micromanaged. And that was the biggest one. So within the concern of, man, what am I going to do? And then what am I going to do next? Was the big one. So that was probably the worst of it.
Yeah, I mean, that affects your entire perspective on how you move forward.
Mhm.
Going back to that temporary mindset, how everything is just temporary. So you were finally sentenced to 27 months in federal, but you didn't do 27 months.
No, I did around like 18 to 24,
Okay.
I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah. Good times.
And then when you
so
go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say, yeah, so like that was kind of a fuck around too. Because one of the deals that we made with the prosecution was keep me close to family. We were down in Texas. That's where all my family was. There's a huge prison system down there in Texas. It wouldn't be hard to keep me in a federal prison down there until you started doing the math. If you do the math for my prison sentence, first time offender, non-violent, no upward adjustment for drugs or anything like that. In fact, the only upward adjustment I got was for a paste bin leak that got dropped early. They hit me with it. They're like, "Oh, you did it." It wasn't me. It was a buddy of mine, but it happens. And even that, the difference, it got me a prison with a gate around it. And I think about that because like my security was so low that at first I didn't even have gates around my prison. There was no fences, right? And In fact, the prison I got told to report to. Now remember, keep in mind, I'm a hacker, W0rmer, anti-government, right? The first prison they send me to was on an Air Force base with recruits from their intelligence sector. So I would be going to the movies with their brand new recruits because the prison system was so low. I was so low on the totem pole that I could go to the movie theater with these people. Right. And so they were like, this dude is anonymous. Like, there's no gates here. He could walk over here and have a random dude just pick him up. We don't even know the people he knows. He's anonymous. And that pretty much kicked off a whole, I mean, I was on diesel therapy for, I want to say about 6 months. Just prison to prison to prison to prison to prison, trying to figure out where they could put me. Because you can't put me in too high of a prison because you don't want to put me with dudes who are just came in 37 murder counts. Well, bro, that, I mean, no offense, but that ain't me, right? I break into computers and stuff. I don't kill people. We ain't out here. So you don't want to mix us up, but you don't want to put me too low. Because if you put me too low, oh, this dude's just going to leave. You don't want that either. So about 6 months of therapy, diesel therapy. I've been to some places all up and down the East Coast. And then, I finally got to a prison up in Elkton, Ohio.
And so you served 18 or so. You come out.
I did. I got time off for, I did the drug classes because they asked me if I had ever smoked marijuana before. And I was like, yeah. And boom, instant drug classes. And if you take a drug class, you get like 6 months, a year off or some shit. So yeah, just doing classes.
Did you know
being
that?
On my best behavior.
Like, is that why you said that?
Idea. No, I had no idea. They would just, I mean, it's prison. Yeah, I'm not going to, you know what I mean? So if a CO's like, okay, here's your intake, have you ever smoked? Why am I going to lie to you?
Yeah.
You're going to be P testing me anyway. You're going to be, so, and I get it. So I'm just not cut like that. I'm not naturally criminally minded. I'm just really good at computers and breaking the law in that respect. Right.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, man, I smoke weed. And they were like, okay, well, would you say you smoke about an ounce a week? I'm like, an ounce a week, maybe 2. Like, we do a lot of hacking out here. And he's like, oh, okay. Next thing you know, I'm enrolled in drug programs, and then there's some real stuff that happens. These guys are, I did this and that on drugs. And, Higinio, if you look, bro, like, I smoked a couple joints. I've never had to do any kind of sexual favors for weed, like, I'm sorry. I'm just not, I haven't done that stuff. So it wasn't a long course for me. They were like, okay, you're good. And they kicked me out, gave me my time and kicked me out. But yeah, it was crazy.
And then you come out and you're banned from the internet. Is that true?
That's true. That is true.
So that was part of the, I guess, the deal that you made, or what length of time was that for?
So yeah, well, what the biggest issue we were having again was the after prison stuff. I had have a great network of friends. I was picked up from the bus stop. I was handheld the entire way. Chuck, get on that bus, Higinio, let's go. Great group of friends, just really took care of me afterwards. But the fact of the matter is, I am by all means a computer nerd. There is, every piece of tech, I have done it, been there, worked on it, everything. But the problem is to have a computer crime, be on probation, your internet has to be monitored. For it to be monitored, what do you monitor hackers with? The same stuff that you monitor pedophiles with, but it's geared to hackers. So you have to find software or a district where I could live that also had the software to allow them to do it, to monitor me. And you would think that would be everywhere, but it is not.
Interesting.
And so we actually had a problem in Austin because they were not going to let me come home because we had a problem. Like, nobody would do it, right? Nobody would monitor this software because, again, for a pedophile, it's easy. Okay, Is there a naked lady anywhere on your screen?
Mm-hmm.
How do you do it for a hacker? Right? Because my security research is going to put me in the fucking into the shady areas. I'm going to be on the fucking pirate bays. I'm going to be downloading malicious software. My tools that I use for my everyday are hacker stuff. How do you monitor for when that is out of scope?
Yeah.
You know?
And you can't explain
So they
that to
had,
them. I mean,
no. So they had to figure all of that out live,
mm-hmm.
you know? And I'll give it to him, Austin specifically, and my probation officer, sweet woman. I still sometimes call her to this day and just harass her to death, you know. Love that woman. But she would, I just remember her calling me my first time. I'm on the Pirate Bay downloading Windows like XP, like Super Virus Edition or something, for the sole purpose of running it through some virus VMs I have and wanted to see what I can catch. And I remember her calling me being like, Higinio, what the fuck, bro? Like, what am I even looking at? Right? Like, I have the company calling me being like, he's doing something.
So you had to explain it.
Yeah. So I had to explain them, you know, oh, don't worry. I'm not doing this. I'm getting this code. I'm getting this. Everything had to be verified, you know, and that was, it's like 6 months after. When I first came out, I could not get online. I could not access cable television because it was hooked up to the internet.
Okay.
The only way that I was allowed on a computer even is on my closed network.
Okay.
My internal network. So I was able to program. I made about $1,000 a week just programming different things for a R&D house. And that kept me afloat, you know. That kept me afloat for a little bit.
So they were really strict initially and then sort of just
Yeah,
lifted that over
I
time.
mean, you get a 4 o'clock call 6 days a week because your probation guy won't stop doing his fucking job, right? Like at some point you're just like, look, we got to let him online, or we have to make an exception somewhere because I can't get these calls every 5 minutes. I mean, it was ridiculous. Like one of the funniest things I remember, getting into an argument with one of the techs, because again, the people who are watching my computer are they watch the pedophiles that are locked up, right? They're not used to hackers. So these guys are like, Mr. Ochoa, there's a fucking half naked lady on your oh God, what is that? You can't have a half, because go to a W0rmer site, go to the Pirate Bay. There's going to be a full screen ad of, you know, whatever, horny women near you.
Yeah.
And 1 or 2 ads in, and you got half the damn police station calling at your door being like, dude, are you hacking? Because if you're hacking, you're going down. Yeah. I've mailed in code. I've had the now ex-wife, I've had given her code to mail off, you know, have her do things, change the channels for me and stuff like that, because I couldn't touch them. I couldn't touch my Comcast thing because it was cable, because it was internet connected.
So you serve the time, the ban eventually lifts. Obviously, you're back in full effect into the world. When you look at that point in time, what was going through your mind in terms of, you know, you don't want to revisit what had put you there. So I guess, what were you on the other side of that? You know, do you feel like you had changed, your trajectory has changed in terms of how you felt about certain things? So I guess, like, how did you plan your movement forward?
Well, I think when you first get out, what you're going to realize when you first got out was everybody loves a redemption story, right? Everybody loves the story. Man, this dude got out and he just, boom, straight to the top. But the fact of the matter is, it's just not like that. It was very baby steps. I remember so the biggest issue, of course, is the reality of that's a felony. And again, if you rob a bank, you're not getting out working at a bank, right? Let's be honest. You steal a bunch of money, you're not working at a bank. And I'm in security.
Yeah.
I broke easily one of the number one tenets of it, which is you're in a trusted position. Don't break that trust. Now, the winning thing is, obviously, I wasn't in IT or information security. I was a photographer doing some web design and basic security stuff back then, but I hadn't gone full security yet. But navigating with a felony is hard enough because I've walked in for a junior analyst job and did so well at the interview. The guy's like, man, I'm going to give you an offer tomorrow. You're going to be head of our security architectural team. And then that very next day, get an email saying, I'm sorry, bro. We just can't get you on. We can't get you past HR. HR will not sign you on. You are a liability. PCI DSS is impossible, right? Financial districts, people, they just like, man, and it was really, it was a struggle. Two guys that really helped me out in that though. And that's what it takes, man. The first one was a guy named Mark Rogers, worked over at Cloudflare. This man saw me struggling. I'm telling you, I filled out 200-300 applications at some points. And it wasn't like I wasn't getting interviews. I was getting interviews.
Mm-hmm.
But I found that like a quarter of them were like, I just want to talk to W0rmer. I want W0rmer's 2 cents on my network. A lot of those. Oh man, at the end of it was, man, that's great talking to you, man. I wish I could hire you. And on the other side, it was just getting offer after offer after offer and having them pulled back because of my felony. The first 10 years was hard.
Jeez.
Once we got into the security, went and did Cloudflare for a little bit. A lot of inside stories on there, but essentially that wasn't a great fit. Migrated off with a bunch of team members there onto some other positions and really just struggled finding that spot. Jeff Vincent over at Harris Health came in for, man, I still remember that day. I came into an interview. I had a suit. I lost so much weight and stuff. So it was like extra baggy, you know what I mean? Like just real loose fit. And I'm sitting there, not 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 or 3-on-1. I'm talking 6-on-1. There's 6 dudes sitting around a table hitting me with, what port is this? What is this? What do you do in this scenario? Do you know this? They grilled the hell out of me. And all of it came down to, man, but boss, he's got a felony. He had everything right, but boss, he got a felony. And that man pretty much told him, hey, man, that guy has what it takes. That guy has the skill sets that we need. And who's going to defend us better than a guy who already knows what it's like to try to break in? That's such an obvious, and, to most people, such an obvious thing. So why didn't the FBI hire you, Higinio? If you're so good, why didn't they? Because FBI doesn't fire felons, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they don't. They'll put you on as a CHI if you want to go do that. They'll have you snitch all day long. But the fact of the matter is you're not going to get a job there because you got a felony. And that was the biggest realization. But thanks to guys like Jeff and Mark, who just really just said, nah, man, like, here's a chance. If you just take this chance for what it is, and both times, I feel anyway, both times I was given those chances, I knocked them out of the park. They said, here's some new products that Cloudflare had. Go hack them. I hacked the fuck out of them. That shit was in CTO's desk the next day. And again, with the hospital, I've worked from the hospital. I worked with the FBI, catching APT1. I've done DFIR, everything. So those 2 guys really, I could put a lot of love and, thanks to my career, because I got to tell you, and I don't even remember Mitnick saying much on it, but from those of us that have entered or re-entered the field of computers, there's an aura that comes with being a felon and hacking, and that comes a lot from what I like to call new tech. Hackers, they don't generally care. The hackers, the street hackers, if you will, corporate guys, corporate people, very quickly get to a felony. So that's a big one.
Which I think is unfortunate, because I think these stories need to be told. And so, like, fast forward to DEF CON 2021, you're on stage, you're doing responsible disclosure work for Sakura Samurai. And I think anyone that knows your history, knows your story, that's, sort of a striking image or a testament to who you are. I guess, what did it feel like for you to do that? And is that still things that, like, are talks at DEF CON and other conferences still important for you now that you sort of have both the expertise, but you also have a story to drive with it.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Well, so with
Did that make sense?
here's the thing, like,
I was kind of
oh
rambling
yeah,
with that
yeah.
question, but
No, but I get it. Yeah, no, I get it. And it's actually funny that you say that because, like you said in the introduction, I was in the Navy, right?
Mhm.
But the fact is, I wasn't. Yeah, but Grok said I was, right? And Grok said a
You
lot of
weren't.
things, and that was, and the same with talks at DEF CON, right? You see it. It's that right there is what I do. Information warfare is the next big thing coming out, right? And
Damn, I need another
the
hour
way
now with you.
the way that talk worked, one of my best friends in the entire world, John Jackson, great hacker, Mr. Hacking himself. This newbie came to me and said, "Look, bro, I just got into this. I'm going to start a hacking group and I want you a part of it." Now, let me tell you, okay, when young bloods come up to you and they pump you full of that, you're the man, I want you on my team, that can, you know what I mean? So I went in deep. I was like, let's go, let's do this. What I found was that he already had the skills. He is easily, if I was to rank hackers in there, I would easily put that man in top one. I've never seen a man operate the way that man does. He has autism the way I have autism, in that when we get stuck in that computer, it's done. When we're going to get it. We got doing some projects there. We started doing bug bounties. He really got me into you're a brand, Higinio. You're a badass dude. Stop out here trying to, you're hoping these companies notice your skill set, or they notice or whatever, and you need to start bringing it. You need to stop asking. He was the one that taught me that you can ask for forgiveness, right? It's a lot easier. And bug bounty is long. Good faith hacking is something that we're really big in pushing with CISA, working with the United States government and working with our friends overseas. Guys like Sick Codes, instrumental to what we were doing. I believe that it was Sakura Samurai that got that pushed. If you hack something now and your intentions were truly good, you're not going to prison, no matter what the company wants to do. If they want to, there is now a avenue for bug bounty and proper disclosure now because of the work that we did, sitting down, arguing with CISA, arguing with these countries, companies overseas, and just doing the work. But that's the bigger thing for it. Sakura Samurai really showed what happens when the industry starts to operate outside of itself. Sakura Samurai wasn't information security, right? If you look at other mythos, the people that were involved, these weren't, I was probably me and John were probably the most information security that most people had ever heard of, right? Rob and Kurtaner. Rob was mostly like psyops and war stuff, and Kurtaner mostly just chaos and anarchy, right? But that group was able to move the needle in security in ways that other groups have not even tried. And that's what's really important. But moving forward, I realized that information security, something I had been just really trying tie it all back up for the last 10, 15 years to get into, right?
Mm-hmm.
Struggling after prison to get into. By the time I made it into it, I was already operating on another level. I was already like, it's no longer like, oh my God, I want to meet that guy. It's like, oh my God, that guy wants to meet me, right? We're not talking to heads of companies anymore. We're talking heads of state. We're doing conversations in rooms with people with stripes on their shoulders, not just, and when you get to those levels, when you start operating at the level of, holy shit, people could die. If I do something wrong, or if the information gets out, people can die. When you start operating on that level, it's a wow. It's a wow. If you go and look on my LinkedIn, you can see one of the first things that I got out was Hack the Army coin. Right? Hack the Army had right around the time when I got out, they had a big thing. Hey, come hack us. And I got a coin in that. And you'll see the only other picture I got is I got a medal from Ukraine.
Okay.
Now,
you said a medal? You got a medal from Ukraine?
I got 2 of them from battlefield accommodations. And you can see, I mean, I can't talk any more than that. I can tell you that I got them. I can show you them. You can read them. But that's the core of what I mean. By the time I entered, oh yeah, I'm one of you guys, yeah, we're on the same level. What do you mean we're not? And that's the crazy part about it. Because I'm the guy I'm just not that serious. I've seen real stuff. I've been in the mix. I'm just as likely to be, these, I said before, I'm overqualified for manual labor, dude. These hands are smooth. I've worked my whole life to make sure of it. But the fact of the matter is, as smooth as they are, they've climbed fences. They broke through. I do physical security, right? I've broken through things that were designed by the Secret Service. And again, I have battlefield accommodations. And at the end of the day, it's the worst hater, the worst day, whatever. I got medals in this. And that's the way it is. I got medals in this. And so when I'm looking back and like, man, what a struggle, what a grind, few people have accomplished what I've accomplished, or even been allowed to accomplish what I've accomplished. And so I'm very thankful for the people that I've met, the organizations I've been able to help, and the organization I've been a part of. And yeah, it's a really weird thing when you spend so much time to be a part of something, and then you're a part of it to be like, man, I'm already tested out of it, and I'm looking back in. Now I'm looking at the information security like, man, now I want to get back in to try to help more. I want to help mold what the next people coming up, what this next group of hackers and what their perspective is going to be and how they're going to be.
Damn, that's a quote right there, man. The hand quote I love that, because people say I got smooth hands too. I think that's the common trait, man, of this industry.
That's
smooth
how you know
hands.
Smooth hands,
So I'm gonna end it on this, man. Someone's listening to this podcast episode right now. In their mental state, they are where you were in 2011, right? They're super technically sharp, but they feel like the system isn't really listening to them. What would you say to them? Is there something you could say?
Well, I can tell you this. I can tell you there's not a piece of wise information that I've been given that made everything better. Okay. But I will tell you this. For that to happen, for you to put yourself in a position like I did, where you're starting to question yourself or your skills or what you're being able to bring to the table, even imposter syndrome, even I think is what they call it nowadays.
Yeah.
When you're really looking at it and facing it, one of the things that you have to understand is that I did it. Okay. And that is ultimately the bottom line of it is, bro, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, you're better than me. You're faster than me. You're quicker than me. I don't have a single thing that anybody else didn't have except for access. I had a computer maybe when other people didn't have a computer. I got on the internet when other people went outside. But there is nothing that I do that somebody else can't do. And there's just nothing. The only thing stopping us is us. I'm just now hitting 46 years old. And I'll be honest with you, in this industry, I've done it all. I mean, everything. I've done the IT work. I've done the IT security work. I've done red team. I've done blue team. I've done purple team. I've defended it. I've broke it. I've done reverse engineer software. I've done physical security. I've done broken IoT things. I have done every single job here. And if you are telling yourself that you are the best, and that there's no growing and whatever, you're a liar. So if you're sitting there and you're like, man, I got doubt, man, you're in the right spot. That urge, that inconsistency with yourself, that not being able to really grasp, that's computers. That's tech. That's hacking. That's the constant need to learn to reinforce what you know because there's so many unknowns. And that's what hacking is taking those unknowns and making them known so we can abuse them and exploit them. You're not bringing a CVE that doesn't exist. You're not exploiting some code path that doesn't exist. You're not the first one to see it. You're the first one to make her hum, right? You're the first one to make that code path work that way. That's really what I would drive home is if you really don't feel like you got it, then you already halfway there. Because that's the fuel. That's you telling yourself, you know the answer to what you got to do next. And if I can break into and make a giant mockery of both our guys in blue, the judicial system, whatever you want to say that I did, come out and make a pretty decent career, experience all the stuff that I did, then there's no reason why a person with a clean background can't do the same or better. There's just not. It's not a skill issue because I don't believe that it's a big skill gap out there. I believe that most of the people out there have what it takes to do what I do. They just don't have, I believe anyway, they don't have the confidence. And that's where we differ. 9 times out of 10, I have the confidence to go and fuck myself up to prove a point if I can do something or not do something when other people don't, so find that confidence. And if the confidence comes from no confidence, like I know I can't do it, then I can tell you right now, that's some of the best. Cause there's times when I can't do this, man, busting my head for hours on this CTF. I'm never going to find the answer. And then boom, as soon as I stop. So.
Love that.
Yeah, there's no easy answer, but no matter how low you feel, just trust me, you in the right spot.
All right, man. Well, I just heard last call here. You got time for one more?
Yeah. Let's do this one. What you got?
Since this is BarCode, I always end it on this question for you. It's completely switching lanes from what we've been talking about, but you might enjoy it. If you decided to open a cybersecurity themed bar, what would the name be, and what would your signature drink be called?
I would probably do something around reverse engineering. So I'd be like, kind of like how you had a BarCode. I'd probably go for something like Bites Bar or something like that. Some kind of weird. Because me personally, I'm a dark liquor kind of guy with, a little bit of soda in there. So, for me, I want it tech, but I want it like in your face is going to be nerdy. You know what I mean? You're going to have some things you can sit there and write on that napkin, but that napkin's going to have some math equations or maybe some code for you to fuck with, that kind of thing.
Love that.
For sure.
Love that.
Yeah. But that is my dream though, by the way. That's my dream. I'm trying to keep alive. I'm trying to get out of tech and open a bar on a beach.
Dude, hit me up when you do it because I've been planning BarCode now for 7 years. And the difference with mine is it would be on the beach, but you would have to incorporate some cyber elements into it. Like there's just. It would
have to be.
You would have to.
I mean, look, if you've been in the industry long enough, Tiki Bar is hella tech. So, throw up some tikis, throw up some computer terminals, hell, they have all those gambling machines, turn them into Linux terminals instead, right? Pop up some Linux terminals, do some shell, offer some free shells with every beer. Shit.
Let's do it, man.
I'm telling you. That's I'm telling you. I'm just waiting for that big cash one. That's all I'm waiting for.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks so much for joining me today, man. This has been incredible. I really appreciate you sharing your story with us. Before you run, just let the listeners know where they can find and connect with you online.
Well, you can find me on Substack. If you just go to Google and type in Higinio Ochoa, you'll find everything. I mean, I'm on the blue skies to the X's to the Facebooks. If there's a spot, you tell me where you want me to be and I'll be there. I promise you that. So, yep, just Google my name, and you'll find me. You'll find me.
Drop your
I'm
link
open
tree
to
in the
DMs.
The show notes there.
There you go. Yep. Hit me up. I'm happy to answer questions. I got, for those starting out, I got tons of paths forward for you. And if you find yourself in that situation where you're like, man, it's so bad out here, I got to break the law, get a hold of me. I'll find something for you to do that, might be a little bit better, get you trained up and get you some, in front of some people that don't have badges and guns.
Okay, man. Well, I appreciate you. You take care.